All right, today is October 19th. It's a Monday. We're going to skip a couple lessons to lesson 17, squares and cubes. Here's the notes for that. Write and explain the formula for volume of a cube, including the meaning of exponent. Squaring of a number when we multiply two of the same numbers together. Cube of a number when we multiply three of the same numbers together. An exponent. See that little arrow with a 2 there? That's an exponent. So this means 3 to the second power, 3 squared. Okay? So go ahead and pause it and take notes for that. Then wanted to show you how to do the countable talk. Some of us did really good. Some of us did not so good. And maybe it's because my directions weren't clear enough. But I'm going to give you two examples of how it's good. So this is what Olivia did. Very nice and easy. She gave me the 3 categories and wrote me an accountable talk. Perfect. Okay, Gianna went a little above and beyond and actually wrote the 3 categories and wrote down a sentence for that. So that's really good what Gianna did too. So either one of those. And then remember the Figure Out Friday. There were some of your classmates that didn't turn this in on Friday, and it should have been turned in. So please make sure if you're one of them to do that. All right. And then we also talked about lesson 17, student task statement. Let me find that really quick. Lesson 17, student task statement. And we wrote this in our notebook underneath the vocabulary. The number 9 is a perfect square because 3 times 3 is 9 because you multiply 3 times itself. So find 4 numbers that are perfect squares and 2 numbers that are not. So there's a lot of more not perfect squares than perfect squares. So think about it. What are some numbers that can multiply by itself? So let's just use 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 is a number that's a perfect square. We already did 3. 3 times 3. How about 4? So 4 times 4, you got it, 16. 16 is a number that's a perfect square. How about 5 times 5? 25. So 25 is also a number that's a perfect square. So do you see that? So we can do 6 times 6, 7 times 7, and so on. And 2 numbers that are not perfect squares. So any number that's not a 2, any number that's not a 4, any number that's not a 9, any numbers that's not 16 is not a perfect square. 11, 7, 5. Those are not perfect squares. On number 2, a square has a side length of 7. What is this area? So 7 times 7, you got it, 49. Number 3, you have to work backwards. So what's its side length? So if the area of a square is 64, what number multiplied by itself would equal 64? So would it be 8 centimeters? Okay, remember to label it. So again, number 2 is 49 square kilometers. Number 3 is 8 centimeters. Because 7 times 7 is 49, and 8 times 8 is 64. So that's why it's 8 for number 3. Then we went to 17.3. Now cubes is when you multiply the same number 3 times. Okay, that was in the vocabulary. When you multiply the same number 3 times, that's a perfect cube. So 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So what's another number that's perfect cube? So what's 2 times 2 times 2? Not 6. Don't add it up. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So that is a perfect cube. How about 4? 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, not 12. Okay, not what you think. So that's 64. So there's a lot of numbers that are not perfect cubes. I mean, there's a lot of numbers. 63, 62, 61, 59, 58. Those are not perfect cubes. All right. 11, 10, 9, 8, not 8, 9, 14, 15, 16. All those are not perfect cubes. So number 2, a side length has 4 centimeters. What's its volume? Volume is what is inside of a shape. What can fit inside? So when we think of volume, we think of more like liquids, right? We think of like soda, tea, coffee, but it can also be food, like dog food, Skittles, M&Ms, chocolate. So anything that can fit inside a container is volume. So we use the word cubic, C-U-B-I-C. C as in cat, U-B-I-C, cubic. So anytime you see the word cubic, that means it's volume. That means it's 3. We're going to do it, multiply the same number 3 times. So if a cube has a side length of 4, what is its volume? So 4 times 4, we just talked about a minute ago, is 64. So you would write 64 cubic centimeters. Okay, how about number 3? So go and pause it and think about it. The cube has a side length of 10 inches. What's its volume? So 10 times 10 times 10. And that is 1,000. So 1,000 cubic inches, right? Who wouldn't want 1,000 cubic inches of soda or 1,000 cubic inches of Skittles? Hey, I'm in. Give me that. We are done for today. We're going to work on 17.4 tomorrow. Your homework today is 30 minutes of iReady. Make sure that we do that. It's an easy A in Power School. And then finish up any missing work that you have in any of your classes. So make sure you check in ELA, science, math, social studies. All right. Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.